Congratulations! You guys made it to the first YouTube video of the Borderline channel, where today we're going to be reviewing the documentary film They Call Us Monsters. Quick note, quick disclaimer, this video will be spoiling almost all of the film, the documentary film, and I like this movie a very great deal, so do yourself a favor. I think it's on demand, and you can also rent it or buy it on iTunes. So yeah, visit the interwebs, take a watch of the movie, and you can come, back to this video later. But watch the movie first, that's my advice. Anyways, this documentary film is directed by Benjamin Lear. It's cinematographed by Nicolas Wiesnet, and it's edited by Eli Depres. So yeah, this documentary follows three teenagers being tried as adults in a juvenile detention center because they have made some very, very bad crimes. One of them is 14 years old. He is tried with 2 attempted murders. The other one, 16 years old, tried with 4 attempted murders. And the third one is tried with 1 attempted murder and a murder on the first degree, and he's 18 years old. And they all participate in this screenwriting class that the movie has organized. So yeah, that's the basic premise of the movie, the 3 teenagers being tried as adults and participating in the screenwriting class, where the movie explores a little bit of their past, their struggles. It also follows their trials and cases very closely, and their progress, evolution, with the script itself throughout the movie. During the documentary, one of the 3 kids, Antonio Jr., the guy who got charged with 2 attempted murders, he managed to get off somewhat scotch-free with only probation. And unfortunately, and heartbreakingly so, you get to witness his slow descent into the vicious circle of the ghetto, where he's starting to use drugs again and to sell. I think the movie mentions him starting to sell drugs again. It's kind of heartbreaking because you witness him saying, "Oh, I want to be better than what it was before. I want to be, and to take my past and to forge it into a better future." And you kind of believe his words because of the documentary, basically, because of the window the documentary opens upon his world. But unfortunately, his life is a hard life, and he manages to get stuck the same place he got stuck before. I really, really like this movie, this documentary, because it takes this central topic of teenagers being tried as adults for very bad crimes they've committed, unfortunately. And it explores so much more of it, because it takes the hopelessness that these kids, the demotivation is what I mean of these kids, that they have in their life, the struggles that they live because of the poverty their parents have to suffer and therefore suffer themselves, the bad influences they have to face because they live in such poor, poverty-stricken areas. The movie grabs all of these themes and tries to sort of help the teenagers by giving them a reason to a goal. That's what I mean. The movie gives the 3 characters, not characters, teenagers in this movie, a goal for them to achieve, to write a screenplay in less than 10 weeks and 20 classes in total, I believe, and with the help of a screenwriting teacher. So that creativity, that input that these teenagers put into this project can be made into a real short movie. Also, while the teenagers are creating the script, I think the movie play does a nice job of intersecting the short movie that is shot afterwards with ideas they throw out on the table, which creates a nice juxtaposition with the final finished project and the starting blueprint of the project, and it creates a nice effect. Also, I think the movie really does a good job going in and out of the teenagers' making the screenplay and the teenagers, personal lives and struggles, and the evolution of the trials they are in as the movie is progressing. And they go in depth of their, sort of past traumatisms, if you will. Examples: the 14-year-old witnessing a murderer, like a drive-by murder, while he was 18-year-old. Not 18-year-old, sorry, 8 years old. The 16-year-old Jared, who is being tried for 4 attempted murders, he witnessed his dad trying to kill himself with a knife, unfortunately. And it's kind of sad the way he portrays it, because in the movie he portrays it as if it's like his homeboy's, his friend's story. But then it cuts right after he finishes the story. It cuts to the stepdad explaining him trying to kill himself, and it's clever the way they produced it. Speaking of the dad of Jared, the 16-year-old, I think the movie really does a nice job on focusing on the family's perspective on the trials of their own family member, from the mothers that are definitely stressed out, or the sisters and both siblings basically that are also pretty down. It's sort of sad to see the not the disbelief that the crimes happened, but the disbelief that it happened to their own, so close to them, because they do live in this poverty-stricken world, their neighborhood. They don't live in such rich areas, and I guess they're certainly affected by it, and it's very touching to see as an audience member. Also, bringing back to the teenagers, the 3 teenagers locked up in Juvy, I think it's nice to see them working hard on a project, motivated by themselves, but with the help of also the film producers of the documentary. But more motivated to do a project. Well, for the most part, even though Jared is sort of fucking around sometimes, you can see like that sort of passionate but like determined look that they want to complete something while they're locked up in Juvy. They have the chance to complete something, and they're enthusiastic by the idea of doing that. Sometimes you can see the determination in their eyes sometimes when they're like throwing creative ideas. It's a nice look on them. For the last point that I like about this movie, I want to mention that the movie does a very, very great job to presenting these 3 teenagers. Because if the movie did the same presentation of these teenagers without ever mentioning that these kids are locked up for murders, I would have never guessed it. I seriously can't believe after watching this movie that this for the majority of the part, these kids are murderers, They look so innocent some of the times, They look so, not immature, but like, sort of ignorant, not knowing the full weight of their actions. Like, I feel like their actions, the movie presents a very well correlations between the actions committed during the crimes and their past lives with past traumatisms and, the daily life of living in such a poor and poverty-stricken neighborhood. And it creates sort of wonderful characters out of these teenagers, because you sort of root for them. You really do root for them. Like during the trials and stuff, like you don't really want them to go to jail, but at the end of the day, they have victims on their hands. It's sad to think about it, but that's life. So I guess with all these good points behind this movie's back, I gotta mention one sort of thing that didn't rub me that wrong on the wrong way, but still, it's there and I have to address it. Like I mentioned earlier, Jared is sort of inattentive some of the time during these group meetings and working on the screenplay and stuff. You can see the teacher sort of gets on his ass and says like, "Come on, man, work on your shit," like be attentive and stuff. But at the end of the day, that's an obstacle that the documentary has to face, and his inattentiveness. And I would have loved to see the movie, try to go around it. It looks like they were punching at the brick wall almost. Yeah, I just felt there was more ways to get past the obstacle. And it would have made for some more nicely put content. But at the end of the day, these are slow kids, and they've not been brought up as little children. They've not been brought up in such well-fashioned manner, so I guess you gotta expect that somehow. I just wish there was other ways to do it. Past screaming at him, more like, helping him, bringing more responsibility maybe on his hands or stuff. Some just little ideas like that. What I want to say by bringing more responsibility in a sense, like giving him more importance to the project, more weight, more commitment. Give him more commitment. All in all, there weren't really moments I hated on this movie. No, but now I have to talk about the moments I loved. The moments I loved in this movie, are they present? They're like little jewels that you grab and you're like, oh my god. Example, during the drive-by shooting that Jared committed, his victim got paralyzed under and she can't walk anymore, she can't use her legs anymore. And the movie first starts off with medium shots, so it's only from head to waist, and you can see her that she's sitting down, but the big twist of it after is that after she, talks about a bit of her situation, how she talks about her perspective on the, what happened, and, sort of young kids being trialed for adult prisons. Then then it cuts to her again talking about her opinion, but it cuts to like a full shot from her head down her to her feet, and you can see that she is sitting in a wheelchair, and you're like, oh, damn. It's a clever way of showing the responsibility that some of these children, well, not children, but teenagers, do while, waving a gun around, and, the unconceived consequences of those actions, like pulling a trigger. Other things I liked about this movie moments is when, the scene where, I think his name was Juan, but anyways, the 18-year-old, he has a son and they had like a visitation time, and he was like playing with his son, and he was like, sort of like it looked like he was teaching him to walk or something, and you could see like a shot of him and his like shackles, like chains tied to his feet, and the feet of his son walking together. It's very touching. It's very nice. Other things, the scene or the multitude of scenes where the lawyer of Jared during the trial, her ineffectiveness of being a lawyer just absolutely bewilders me, because like I said, even though they're criminals, even though they've done horrible things, and they are sort of worthy of the title of monsters, these kids, you still sort of root for them. You're still on their side as an audience member, and when you see the ineffectiveness of Jared's lawyer and the way she sort of even digs up a little bit of his own grave while asking stupid ass questions to people who are like in that question seat, a place where people sit and they have to swear on the Bible and they have to tell the truth or whatever. And when like the opposition lawyer is done talking with them, the defense lawyer can cross-examine. I think that's what they call it in the movie. Cross-examine that same person, and they go up to them and they ask them questions. And she was asking like the most stupid ass questions ever. Like, I don't know if she thought him on the spot, because it looks like she just thought him on the spot. Anyways, that was a little bit mad, and just the film did a good job at showing, because after they were like cutting at every point, she was saying, "Oh no, I have no questions, Your Honor. I have no questions, Your Honor." Cut, like each time, and you could even see like in the background, one of the guy, the teacher, he was like attending like the case, and he was like had this like face of like not disgust, but like what is she doing with Jared type face, like. And the last moment of which I really loved and I want to share with you people is when the 18-year-old confesses not confesses, I'm sorry, the 18-year-old is convicted of, his crimes, and he gets 100+ years of prison time in an adult prison. And it gets pretty touching. Well, he has a pretty, like, that's that, that kind of look. He's not that, well, I'm sure he's affected on the inside, but he doesn't show that he's affected that much. But goddamn, his father has like this emotional breakdown, like outside the room of the case, where the trial is happening. He like starts calling the like mother, and you could also hear like the mother's cries on the other side of like, oh God, now what happened? And yeah, I think it's about time we give this movie the rating it deserves. Shall we? Cue
The normal ass drum roll.
In conclusion, I think this movie does a great job of showing how we dehumanize criminals. We put them all in the same basket and we treat them as, the garbage, the filth of humanity. And, we even put teenagers, you know, in that same basket. We treat them as all the others. They're all the same in our eyes. And this movie shows that they're not, they're human beings too, god damn it. And yeah, that was the end of the Borderline Genius channel. If you liked it, you can like it. That's a thing. If you liked it even more than liking it, you can always subscribe to my channel if you haven't done so yet. And give your opinion in the comment section down below, and comment what you think I should review next.